I want to make sure I'm centered. Hey YouTube, it's Maya here. Welcome back to my channel, and wow, it has been a long time since I've said that. Or at least, it feels like it's been a long time since I've said that. If you are new to my channel, I wouldn't really recommend starting off with this video, but if you are a long-time subscriber and have been wondering where I am, then today I'm going to be answering that in this week's video, which is just going to be a sit-down video talking to you guys where I've been, what I want to do with my channel, and what's been going on in my life for the past few months. I started my channel back in 2014, which means my channel has officially been on YouTube for 5 years now, and it's really crazy to believe that I'm still doing this. And there's been a lot of ups and downs to get to this point. So for the first 3 years of my channel, I was on a very strict deadline of uploading every single Sunday. I would come up with an idea on Monday, Tuesday, film Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then edit Friday and Saturday. That way I could get up the video on Sunday. And I was very strict on myself in that routine. If I missed an upload, I would get super disappointed in myself and think that I was a complete failure and that I was, disappointing my audience, even though it was very small when I first started. Obviously being in that routine, it took a toll on my grades, on my family, on my friends, on my mental health, and it just wasn't really a healthy thing for me to do. So about 2 years ago, I made a video called I Didn't Want to Make This Decision, because basically I had decided that I needed to take a step back. In that video, I basically explained how I was dealing with a lot of stress and feeling very anxious about getting videos up, which shouldn't be the main goal of YouTube. It isn't about the quantity, it's about the quality of the videos. And I felt like this routine was hurting me as a person, but it was also hurting my videos. And I told my viewers that I was going to upload every other week. However, if you go back 2 years ago on my channel and look at the video dates that followed the announcement video, then you would see that my uploading schedule was kind of all over the place. Some videos would be uploaded every other week, and then other videos would be uploaded every 3 weeks, or I would only upload one video a month, and my uploading schedule got really sporadic. And if you've been paying attention to my channel recently, that's kind of happened again. And the reason for that is I have been going through a lot of personal stuff that I do not want to put on the internet just because it is personal. But basically, especially 2 years ago, I reached a really bad breaking point, and I was just so mentally dead. And because I was so mentally drained, it meant that I went into a very bad creative burnout, and I felt like everything I was making was just such a disappointment, and it felt like I was forcing myself to make videos, which shouldn't be YouTube. YouTube should be about making videos because you want to make videos. And 2 years ago, I was in a really rough place. My schedule was so packed, and it was so hard for me to even sit down and think of a video idea without stressing myself out. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt this video, but I just realized I made a little bit of an oopsie when explaining this timeline. So basically, the I Didn't Want to Make This Decision video was uploaded back in 2017, so that was 2 years ago. But then all of the things I talk about that happened after that video, like my mental breakdown and creative burnout, that all happened to me in 2018. So technically only a year ago. For some reason, I thought all of these events happened 2 years ago, but they actually happened a year ago. The only thing that happened 2 years ago was that update video talking about how I was going to take a break and change my uploading schedule. And even though that happened 2 years ago and I got over it, it happened again this year, just recently. I overloaded myself with a lot of things, even though my friends keep telling me, Maya, don't put too much stuff on your plate, you're gonna stress yourself out. I did it again, and I went into another creative blockout where I couldn't come up with ideas, or any idea I came up with I thought was terrible, and I started forcing myself to make videos. Like the past few videos I've made on my channel have been me forcing myself to sit down in front of a camera and make them. And then I go into the editing And I'm so disappointed, and I don't want to edit because I was so burnt out and I was so tired of my own passion, which is making videos, which was so sad. So I realized, okay, let's take another step back and let's not upload for a little while. I actually made a I'm taking a break YouTube video. I filmed it one day after I forced myself to make a different video. And I basically said in that apology video that I had just forced myself to make a video and I couldn't do it anymore. And so after I stopped filming the initial creative video, I made a I'm going to take a break video. And I cried in it and all that kind of stuff, and talked about the same thing I'm talking about now, only now I feel much more okay to talk about it. And, you know, back then, even though it wasn't that long ago, when I made the I'm going away for a little while video, I cried and I was at such a bad breaking point, and it just wasn't good. I can insert a few clips in. I'm not going to show too much of it because I'm not really like proud of the video, but you can just see a few clips and you can see where I was at. I just haven't been feeling like my creative self, and I've realized that if I don't take a break, then eventually I will get so sick of YouTube that I will not want to do it anymore, and that's not what I want to do. I want to do YouTube, I want to create videos, I want to make content, but it's really hard to when you're experiencing a lot of burnout and you're overloading yourself with too much, because I did that to myself again. I just want to step back and I want to take a break. That way I can recover and hopefully move past some of my problems that are going on in my life, because if I don't, then I don't know what I would do. The reason why I didn't end up uploading that goodbye video was because I was afraid that people would, I guess, judge me for crying over something that I guess couldn't be worth crying about, or at least I didn't think. The reason why I didn't upload that apology video was because I was scared to put a video of me crying on the internet. I was scared to open up about some of my personal issues, just because I feel like they aren't, you know, like there's people out there who are going through worse than me. And I felt like if I shared that on the internet, people would be like, oh, like, this is nothing. There are people out there who have it way worse than you. Like, you shouldn't be complaining about this. And I was really scared about talking about that. But, you know, I think it's an important conversation to have. And even though I feel like I will never learn my lesson and still overload myself with a million things, I am getting there, and I really do want to open the conversation about it and talk about, you know, stress and how much you can take before you reach your breaking point, and how important it is to realize that you did have a breaking point. Because 2 years ago, I was at my breaking point, but I didn't want to admit I was at my breaking point, and I kept pushing myself and putting myself in toxic environments and with toxic people, and it was just so bad for me. And I wish I could just slap my 2 years ago self and be like, hey, get out of there, like, that's not good for you. So if you guys didn't know, a few days ago was my birthday, and I have officially turned 17, which is crazy because mentally I'm still like 5. But because all of this crazy stuff I have been talking about all happened when I was 16 years old, I decided to include in this video 16 things I learned while being 16. So number 1, do what you need for yourself. If someone is toxic, if a place is toxic, remove them. If your friends are doing something that you don't agree with, or you need to do something for yourself, but it's not considered cool to everyone else, like, who cares? It's your life. You need to do what you need to do for yourself. That's what's most important. The second thing that was enforced to me when I was 16 was Be grateful for what you have today because you are not promised it tomorrow. And I know this is a very cliche thing, but it's really important to enjoy today, be grateful for what you have, because honestly, no one is guaranteed what you have today, tomorrow. The third thing I learned when I was 16 was to think about the smaller things you can do, because ultimately it's a lot more important to do something small that will give a bigger impact than to try to do something big and only make a small impact. Be specific. Find something that is like not general, you know? Find something very specific, help towards that, and if you move towards that, even though it's small, it will make a bigger difference in the grand scheme of things. Where if you try to do something too broad, you know, you are gonna miss a lot of things and it could end up turning into a very small impact. The fourth thing I learned when I was 16 was to please listen to others. Stop trying to one-up them with how much worse your life is than theirs. I feel like it's almost a competition nowadays to like compare how awful your life is with your friends. Like, for example, someone could be going through something with their family, and then this other person's like, oh, well, you can't talk, like, I broke my leg, or, you know, like, my pet just died, or something like that. Like, I just feel like nowadays people are just trying to one-up themselves with the negativity, which makes no sense. If someone is talking to you about something negative in their life, please be supportive to them. Don't try to bring your life and put it on theirs. Like, your life is your life, their life is their life. If they're going through something, help them, be there for them. Don't try and say that your life is worse or you have it worse than they do. Just help them. The fifth thing I learned was to take each day as it comes. Stop worrying so much about the future. I feel like my mental state would have been so much better this year if I stopped worrying about the future and how horrible I may think it is, because if I stopped doing that and just enjoyed each day as it came and was grateful for the things I had today, I feel like I would just be so much happier. The next thing I learned, which is also something I talked about in one of my New Year's Eve videos, I believe, but this is something my grandmother and a few of my friends have said, but basically another thing I learned when I was 16 was that things have to get worse before they can get better. Every situation has to get worse before it can get better. And as much as that sucks, it's pretty true. And it's going to happen. I think one of the most important things is to accept it, be prepared for it, and, you know, look towards the positivity and move towards it. The seventh thing I learned when I was 16 was treat yourself, honey. You deserve to be happy. This was a big one for me because I feel like I was just constantly overworking myself and being super hard on myself for not working. I don't know if a lot of other people do this, but basically whenever I'm not working, I feel like I'm being a huge disappointment because I feel like there's someone out there who's working harder than me and they're getting better and improving themselves and getting their work done. And I am always stuck in that mindset and I can never chill, which is so not good. It's really important to take time for yourself, you know, take a nap, watch a movie, take a break from that really long essay, unless it's like due in like 5 minutes or something like that. Like, take time for yourself because it's really important and it'll improve your emotional, physical, and mental state. The eighth thing I learned, which kind of ties into the first thing, is cut toxic people out of your life. They are not worth it. I experienced a few toxic people in my life and I had to cut them out. As hard as it was, it really helped me improve my mental health and it made me feel a lot happier once they were out because they weren't causing so much stress on me. And I'm sure some of you guys watching can, you know, think and realize that you have someone who is toxic in your life, and if it is someone you can separate yourself from, then do it. It's so worth it. The ninth thing I learned when I was 16, which is super important, and I'm kind of breaking the rules a little bit here, but anyway, what I learned is that you should never post your feelings on social media. It's not a good idea. I have recently realized that social media was a big part of my mental state, and I think it is for everyone nowadays, because social media is a huge aspect of everyone's life. And you know, social media, as great as it is, it can also be very mentally depriving. And I think it's really important. Of course, you want to be authentic, and you know, you don't want to be like fake, of course, on social media, but you don't want to expose yourself too much, because I feel like that is really unhealthy. You know, social media shouldn't be your therapist. The 10th thing I learned when I was 16, which is something I knew but definitely learned a lot more about when I was 16, was to take time discovering yourself. There really is no deadline. I feel like as a teenager, and especially a 17-year-old who's about to go to college very soon, that a lot of adults pressure teens to figure themselves out, because they think if you figure yourself out now, that when you become an adult, everything will be easier. But honestly, that's a lot of pressure for a teenager. So there really is no deadline. Don't worry, you don't gotta figure yourself out right away. And I have been realizing this a lot too. Some colleges, you can go in as undecided and pick your major once you've figured yourself out a little bit more. And I think that's really essential. The 11th thing I learned when I was 16 is to hold on to the memories, but don't get stuck in them. I am someone who lives in the past a lot, and I'm not afraid to admit it because I know I do it. Don't try and live in the past, you know? It's the past. You gotta move on. Every day is gonna come. You can't stop time. So, of course, it is important to remember those memories and hold on to them and love and cherish them, but don't get stuck in them, because if you get stuck on them, you won't be able to focus on the now and the future. The 12th thing I learned when I was 16 was, if you're unhappy, speak up about it. Your words matter. If you never speak up that you don't like something, then no one will know that you don't like it, and they won't be able to help you because you wouldn't have said anything. The 12th thing I learned, which is something I already knew, but I felt like it's important to say, is to just let people live their life. Your nose does not belong in someone else's business. I always have found that a lot of people like to stick their noses in other people's business, and I just don't think that's right. You know, it's like their life is not yours. You have your own life. Focus on your life and your friends and your family, and don't put yourself in someone else's business. The next thing I learned is that it is always important to be the bigger person. And what I mean by that is, if you are in a conflict with someone and you're just constantly butting heads, or the other person is being really immature and not helping you out and you want to be immature back, don't be the bigger person. You know, if that means being the first person to apologize, if that means sticking up for yourself, if that means helping someone else out, then just do it. I know it sucks and it's not fun, but in the long run, you'll feel better about being the bigger person, because it just reassures that, you know, you've done the right thing even though you didn't want to, but it's important to. And I just think being the bigger person, it says a lot about someone. The next thing I learned when I was 16 that I still need to learn because I'm not very good at it is, if you want to tell someone something that is very private, then tell them in private. There have been a lot of instances in my life where I wanted to tell a friend something really personal, but I do it in a crowd of people. And then these people who I don't know or who I don't like, they know things about me that they don't need to know. So please take it from me. If you want to tell someone something private, do it in private. And the last thing I learned when I was 16 was already something I was pretty good at practicing, but something I want to remind myself and also let you guys know about is, you can't force people to change their opinions about you if they think about you negatively. You know, people will have their opinions, and that's okay. That was 16 things I learned when I was 16. At least I hope I got everything. So now that we've got the where I've been and what's been going on in my life for the past few months aspects out of the way, let's talk about where I want to go with this channel. Even though I have my moments, I absolutely love making YouTube videos and I still want to continue doing it. As you guys saw, I made a new intro. I hope you guys really like it. I also made a new outro to go with it, and I've also got a new recording location. I hope you guys like it. This yellow chair was my 17th birthday gift, so I'm using it as best as I can. So we've definitely got a lot of improvements, but this channel is definitely going to be different. I'm not really sure what my uploading schedule is going to be. I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible during the school year, especially next year. It's going to be a little rocky. I hope to be more frequent in the summer and during breaks and stuff like that. But I can't promise that I'm going to be doing videos every single week or every other week because like I said, you know, my mental health is really important to me and school is really important to me right now. I've got a lot of really big things happening in my life right now and I don't want to focus too much on this. Like, of course I want to focus on this, but I also want to make sure I'm equaling my time, and sometimes equaling my time means spending a little bit more time on my personal life. I hope you guys understand that, and I'm sure you do. For those of you who come from my phone group production channel, I will still be uploading on there. I've actually filmed a few more episodes for some of the series on there, and I am definitely still active on that channel. It's just my face channel right now is going to start to turn into a more irregular thing like phone group production. I just want to let you guys know basically what's been going on as best as I can and try to tell you where I see my channel going. I also want to be more open. I actually really enjoyed this sit down video, so if you want to see more sit down videos, please let me know. I will still make skits and funny videos and relatable stuff and types of people videos because those are really fun for me to do. So don't worry, those aren't going away, but I'm definitely going to be taking YouTube a little bit slower. Alrighty, I don't know how to end this video if you can tell, but basically if you liked my face and this was the first video that you saw of me, then please check out my social media links in the description box below. Subscribe, turn on my post notifications, all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, and don't forget, when you're in the spotlight, strut your stuff. I will see you guys whenever I do next. Bye!